Pressure Cook 101 on YouTube, baby. We're gonna compare an oxtail dish, the exact same oxtail dish prepared in a pressure cooker versus in the traditional method being an oven. Now, oxtail is a cut of beef that needs low temperature cooking over a long period of time. It's quite tough and it's gonna need that long cooking time to break down those fibers. That's where a pressure cooker comes in because it's able to cook at a shorter time under more pressure, breaking those fibers down. So we're kind of almost cooking at like half, sometimes even a quarter of the time. And we're gonna do that experiment today. To add a little bit of thickness and texture to the sauce, coat it in a little bit of flour. You can be quite generous with the salt. You're seasoning the meat. I feel like oxtail or beef in general and black pepper, best friends. So be really, really generous. And think about it, when was the last time you ever said someone added too much pepper to a beef dish? The oxtail does have a lot of fat and that's gonna be rendered out while we're cooking. But you still want a little bit of fat in the beginning to help with that browning process. And then we're gonna start frying off our oxtail. We've got some beautiful crust on our oxtail, and it's looking golden brown and delicious. Then we're gonna start rotating the oxtail in the pan. We're gonna work on the other side of the oxtail and the sides. You want that crust to be all over the oxtail. So when we say brown and evenly brown, we mean this. So we've got that beautiful caramelization in the front, on the sides, on the back. That's all going to be flavor. We're gonna get the oxtail out the pan and move on to the next step. We've got some onions, carrots, and celery, also known as a mirepoix. It's gonna be the base of our sofrito, or the base of our stew and dish. So into the same pan with that oxtail fat, we want that. We're gonna start sizzling off the veggies. And if ever you see me add onions to a pan and I don't add bay leaves, something's wrong. Because the rule is every time you add onions to a pan, bay leaves have to go in. So we're gonna let those all cook together, caramelize, soften before we go in with our garlic. And we're gonna season it with salt. The salt's obviously gonna add some seasoning, the saltiness to it, but it's also gonna draw the moisture out of the vegetables. So it's gonna help us steam them as they cook, which means it's gonna soften quicker. We're all about saving time today. I'm gonna go with like what I think is gonna be probably about 4 cloves of garlic. Rosemary goes in. Because this dish is gonna cook for so long or under pressure, if you're not feeling in the garlic chopping mood, you can actually just add the cloves. Cloves? Don't add your cloves, keep your clothes on. You can actually add the garlic cloves whole, and during that time it's gonna just soften and impart that garlic flavor into the ragù. But things are smelling pretty amazing right about now. We're adding tomato paste to the pan, and I think it's important to say we squeeze from the top, not from the middle. We're gonna actually toast the tomato paste until the oil becomes an ambery color. That's when we know we've got maximum flavor in the oil. You could totally go in and add chopped tomatoes or tomato passata sauce to this dish. I do prefer going with the cherry tomatoes because they stay whole even after the very long cooking time, or again, cooking under pressure. Next, we're gonna go in with some Kalamata olives and some of that brine. Not a lot. I'm not really using it for olives. I'm using it more as a seasoning to let some of that flavor of the olives impart into the ragù while it's busy cooking. We're gonna transfer our sofrito into our pressure cooker, and I've kept it quite nice and chunky and managed the amount of moisture or liquid we added. And the reason for that is when you're doing a traditional stovetop or oven version, you get a lot of reduction in the liquid. Evaporation. With the pressure cooker, you've got the pressure seal on top. You're not gonna have as much evaporation. So you don't wanna add too much liquid and end up with a very saucy ragù. So in we go with our sofrito. Then we're gonna add our beautiful oxtail. And then I'll add the amount of water that I need for the cooking process. So all we have to do now, lid on, and we're gonna see this dish in another hour's time. We're gonna do a little test and see just how much is cooked in 1 hour. But that's not all, there's more. Now what I've got here is exactly the same dish, cooked up to the point where we transferred everything into the pressure cooker. We're not gonna transfer anything. We're just gonna take the whole dish with its lid on and pop it in the oven. And the reason for that is we wanna see just how long will it take to cook the oxtail versus the pressure cooker, and then what are the visual or taste differences between the two. It's been just shy of 4 hours and I've got the 2 versions of our oxtail ragù to show you. So come a little closer. We've got our beautiful ragù that was in the pressure cooker for 1 hour. I mean, the bone is removing itself. It is so tender. And again, this took 1 hour. What you can also notice is there is quite a bit of liquid left because we're not getting as much evaporation. If you come over to the version that went into the oven, you'll see it has reduced quite a lot more compared to the pressure cooker version, and you'll also see a little more caramelization on the top. What I love about the version that took just shy of 4 hours to make is that it is, yes, obviously fall apart tender, but it's got a more intense, rich tomato and oxtail flavor. Both versions are amazing and so delicious, but let me show you how we're going to use our pressure cooked version. This ragu works really well with crusty bread, even over mash, with smashed potatoes, but with pappardelle it just becomes something else. Even gnocchi, really special. Because we got all that extra liquid, it's really great. That's going to get absorbed by the pasta, which is important that you add the sauce to the pasta while the pasta is still hot. Extra sauce on the top. The leftover ragu, great for freezing. Parmesan, lots of it, and basil. And then dinner is served. Get the full recipe in the description down below and let us know what piece of kitchen equipment you want us to test out next. Now, unfortunately, this is all mine because I don't have any friends to share this with, so. What?